So what they're doing today is saying, I'm buying this home and I have the option to close on this home anytime in that 2-year time frame. And by doing that, they've protected themselves from that appreciation to get out of control and out of their reach of being able to close on that home.
Yeah.
So we are being compensated for us releasing that right to that appreciation while they're paying for that right to that appreciation over that 2-year time frame.
Yeah. All right, welcome back. My name is Jason.
I'm Colter.
And this is the Massive Passive Income Show.
We're glad to be here.
We are glad to be here. So we've been sitting here for about 10 minutes figuring out what we were going to talk about. And I think we come up with lease options. So we talked about lease options a little bit before, but I'm getting more and more people that are calling different numbers that I have out there for some of my properties that are for sale by owner, some of my properties that I rent, and people are asking if we would do like an owner carry, but I will not do an owner carry on a rental property because I don't want to sell it to them that way. But a lease option is a great way to not only capture somebody that's going to pay you good rent, but also get some money up front and then hopefully have a potential buyer. And I think in this market right now where real estate's kind of all over the map, houses were worth $100,000, a year and a half ago more than they are now. Interest rates were 2.5%. Now they're at least below 5%, which is awesome. And I'm starting to see some real estate move. Lease options are a really good strategy.
Well, and I've liked using them just because you are locking in that person for X period of time, and they treat the property differently.
They
right?
do.
So it's kind of like my Airbnbs. I really like my Airbnbs because I can give a 5-star review or a 1-star review on that tenant, right? They're there for a few days or a week or a couple of weeks, and then they're gone. But I get to rate them on their cleanliness, their, how well they communicated, et cetera, et cetera. Well, on a lease option tenant, they're treating it like, hey, I just put, $20, $30, $50, $100,000 in a deposit into an option fee.
An option fee, yeah.
And saying, hey, I'm really interested in closing on this house. And by doing that, they take a level of ownership in the home that they're not owners until they've actually closed and purchased the home. But they take a level of ownership because they're like, oh, well, this is going to be mine. I'm going to treat it differently. I'm going to keep my kid from putting his head through the wall a little bit more than
painting the wall black.
Yeah.
Which I'll put in every one of my lease agreements and lease options. They cannot paint a room black. You ever tried to overpaint black?
Yeah, we just got done with
one.
Oh, did you? Yeah. It's amazing. Actually, they did it to the cabinets. They did it on the countertops.
Yeah, it took 2 coats of primer and like 1 to 2 coats of paint, if I remember right. It was crazy. So, yeah, and that's what's great with lease option too, is you get that option money down, which locks a price in for them. And you say, okay, this is the price of the property in 2 years. It will be X amount. They agree to that. They purchase the option for the right to buy it for that price. And you can't call it a down payment, but you can make it a down payment without calling it a down payment, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And so they buy the option to buy this predetermined price in 2 years, and then that's their place. And I'm like, you need to make the payment every month on time. If you don't, you lose your option money, and that's kind of the way you can kind of play them a little bit. No, that's not the right word, but what's the word I'm looking for? Secure their agreement with my agreement is by putting in the contract, hey, you put down this $10,000 or $20,000, $30,000 sometimes, and you have the option to purchase that property. If you're late or if you don't exercise that in 2 years, then the property automatically just becomes mine, and you have voided your right to buy that property at that predetermined price. And so that option money becomes non-refundable, completely non-refundable, because it is an option to purchase that property at a predetermined price.
Well, and it's fascinating. The cool thing about the option is for the buyer, for the lease option folks that are coming in to stay in the home, is they have the ability to close on that home. They fixed a price. And in real estate, we expect, long-term appreciation. So what they're doing today is saying, I'm buying this home and I have the option to close on this home anytime in that 2-year time frame. And by doing that, they've protected themselves from that appreciation to get out of control and out of their reach of being able to close on that home.
Yeah.
So we are being compensated for us releasing that right to that appreciation while they're paying for that right to that appreciation over that 2-year time frame.
Yeah.
And with that right, they can go to the bank and say, hey, you know what? I have the option to purchase this home. So let's say it's $450,000. And they're saying, I will come in with an option fee of $50,000. And what they get is a $450,000 purchase price on the home. And then if they brought $50,000 in as an option fee, that's a credit at closing.
Yes.
When they go to pay for the rest of the home.
Yeah, it works out. It works out good. And a lot of people are like, "Why would you do that?" Well, there's a lot of people out there that have a great job. They're great people. I mean, everybody's great people. I guess I shouldn't stipulate that, huh? But sometimes people lose a job. Sometimes people get in over their head, whatever it is, and their credit gets a little bit tarnished. Or they lose a job and they get behind on a few things, find a new job, and now they just can't get ahead anymore. Or maybe they lose their house in foreclosure, and it'll take them a couple years to be able to clean up their credit because they got another job. So whatever the reason is, but they want to buy a home. They don't want to rent a home. And so by lease option it, you become a landlord, but they become an owner, so to speak, because they bought the option to buy that property. So they're intending on buying that property in 2 years. So your exit strategy, you already have your buyer lined up. They're, like you said before, they're going to treat it a little differently because they're going to purchase that home. I put in there, if they want to make any alterations at all, has to be approved by me. They can paint the walls, but they can't paint them black, dark colors or bright colors. They got to be neutral colors. And I say, I want to look at what color paint you're going to do. If something small breaks, they're in charge of it. And I put anything over $1,000 that I want to know what it is, and I'll split it with them. So say the furnace goes out, I call my guys to go in there and look at it. I want them to, whoever they may know, so that I know for sure what's going on with that furnace. We fix it. If it can't be fixed, then we'll split that with them. So it just makes it so I have a little bit of control still, but yet they have most of the control with that option that they chose to buy that property with.
And that control leaves that control in the hands of somebody that is more experienced in taking care of and managing property. So
because my goal is for them to buy that in the 2 years.
Yes.
And so I want everything to take place so that they purchase that, because that's my exit strategy. So I start making my plans that property is going to be sold in 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great strategy, and there's opportunities as the investor to make sure that it's the best deal when we go to procure a lease option agreement. Mm-hmm. There's a property right now that I have on great seller carry terms. I don't want that home to sell anytime soon. So if I can have it carried for 2 years on a lease option to that right buyer, then I'm in a better position because I know that I'm paying 3% interest over here, and I'm going to make a solid rent for 2 years until that home closes at the 18-month to 24-month mark.
Yeah.
And that's just a good way of being able to do some asset management and understanding when those assets are actually going to leave the portfolio, and keeping what I think are really assets in that 3% loan. I'm able to create an arbitrage above and beyond that by charging a good solid rent and fair market rent to somebody that's coming in and going to take good care of the home and then close on it in 2 years.
That's awesome. And here's something I learned right at the very beginning when I started doing lease options, is I created this grid, and it was awesome. It was on a nice piece of paper, and it said, hey, if they come in with $5,000 down, then this is what their rent will be, and this is how much they'll purchase for. If it's $3,000 or $2,000, and if it's below $2,000, then it won't work for them. And as I remember showing this paper to Chris Wilson, who teaches a lease option class that I learned how to do lease options, and he goes, "Oh, that's a nice piece of paper," but he goes, "Why would you tell people what they can bring? Why not ask them what they can bring?" And I'm like, "Oh, interesting." The very next lease option that I would have taken $5,000 down, or not down, I gotta stop saying down payment because it's not a down payment, for an option fee. I would have taken $5,000 for an option fee. I asked him, I said, "Hey, so how much money do you think you could come up for an option fee? Would $30,000 work?" And I'm like, yeah, $30,000 will work. And so just that one little tidbit that I would have taken $5,000, I got $30,000 from these guys. Now, sometimes lease options people, things happen and they don't end up exercising their option to purchase that in the 2 years. I never extend more than 3 years, but I always do at least a 2 year. Sometimes I'll extend 1 year, but if you get into too many years, then there's a whole bunch of other legal stuff. So don't do it. I always do it for a year to 2 with the option to extend for a year. But usually I ask for more money to extend it. So if they put, say, $20,000 down, I'm asked for another $5,000 to extend that for another year, which just invests them even more into the project. And then if they exercise their option, great. If they don't exercise their option, that option money fee becomes mine. It's non-refundable. Now here's something else we did once in 2007. The real estate market was going crazy. So I predetermined what the price of that house was going to be in 2 years, and that price of that house was about $60,000 more than what I predetermined it was going to be. So I had 2 lease options that were coming due, and I went to both of them and said, I'll buy you out of your lease option. I'll give you back your option money plus another 10 grand. One of them did it, the other one didn't. because I was going to leave $60,000 worth of equity on the table if they would have bought it. Now, it's their right. I'm totally fine. I didn't go in there and beat them up or anything, say, oh, you need to sell this to me. I just gave an option. I'm like, hey, you going to purchase this? Yeah, that's the plan. Well, if you decide not to purchase this and you let me, if you want to give it back, you don't purchase it, I will give you your option money back, plus I'll give you 10 grand. The one guy jumped out of his seat and the other one's like, oh no. I'm buying it. I've already started the process. I'm buying it because he could see and he did, the work and the credit and everything else so that he could purchase it. But so I got one back, got the other one, and I turned around and threw it on the market for sale. And I had to give him back 20, but I ended up getting that 20 back and another 20. So it was worth it to me to throw it on the market and, resell it.
Well, I like that you had 2 different people that were in that same scenario where you could say, hey, I'm going to give you your cash in deposit fee or option fee back, plus you're going to make money on that option fee for having secured the property. So that was a good investment for them.
Yeah, definitely.
And for the other guy to be like, hey, you know what? No, I purchased that option. I understand the market and I want to stay. My intentions are to stay, and I'm going to execute that agreement. And I love that you have both of those scenarios to where it's beneficial to both parties.
It is.
Where the lease option was good for this guy that ended up selling his option because it was an asset, and the other guy executed his option because it was an asset, and he was able to take advantage of that agreement he made that was good with you back in 2007.
Yeah, it's just in this kind of economy when people are a little bit tighter with stuff, and that people's money isn't going as far as it used to. Lease option is a good option for people that still want to purchase a home, that don't want to throw their money away in rent, and they want to purchase a home, and they find the right neighborhood with the right schools, with the right area that they want to live in, and they find that house. People have money and they want to purchase something. So the last thing I want to do is say, hey, family, let's move into the house and rent it for a couple of years, and then go have to find another place. They want to say, hey, let's build some roots here. Let's get the kids enrolled in school. Let's make a community out of this, and let's purchase this. But we can't afford, or we can't qualify for a loan right now, but we can in 2 years. So it is a huge win-win. I get money up front that I can do whatever I want with. I can go buy another property. I can use it to fix up another property because it's a non-refundable lease option fee. And so that money's mine, and you can use it however you want, which is huge for me because I get some cash up front, and then I get some cash later when they close. So that's great. Plus I get monthly income off of it also, so you get like the best of all the worlds. And it's great for them. It's great for them. So it truly is a win-win.
Yeah, so you get to sell your cake and eat it too.
There you go. And you can even frost it. Frost the cake, right? No?
Do you eat cake without frosting?
That's true. Who eats cake without frosting, right?
Jason.
That is just chocolate bread. It's not cake anymore. Well, awesome. Thanks for tuning in. I think it was a good episode. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think it's a powerful strategy. I think we've gone through scenarios that are good for the lease optionors as well as those who are the investor that are selling and disposing of property that way. I think it's a powerful strategy, and we'd encourage somebody to really understand the aspects of being able to implement that strategy, because in this market specifically, I think that's really powerful, especially if you want to keep things for a little bit longer. You want to defer some of those taxable gains that'll happen once you sell the property. Now you can take advantage of that option fee today and defer some of those capital gains in the future. It's a great way, especially if you're buying and flipping property. I love it from that instance is that you can take it from a short-term capital gain to a long-term capital gain. Because
That's a whole other episode, capital gains.
it really is. I mean, so you can shorten that window anyways, or extend that window to where you're getting taxed less. Just a powerful strategy. Jason had some great examples, and reach out to us. Let's talk more. Great episode.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.